Afternoon, and welcome to Forever Young Med Spa's Simple Aesthetics radio show, where for the next hour we will seek to demystify the world of aesthetics and provide to you, our listening audience, a non-medical opinion on what's hot, what's not, and what works based on our experience of performing over 22,000 treatments since 2005. The views provided on this show should not be considered medical advice, but rather the opinion of the host who has been in the medical aesthetics business since 2005. During this program, we will highlight some of the best new and tried and proven FDA-approved services and go over the technology, how and why it works, results you can expect, and take your questions live on the air. If you have a question you'd rather email, please send it to brian@foreveryoungmedspa.us. And now, here's your host, Ryan Sedella.
Good afternoon, South Florida, and welcome to another edition of Forever Young Med Spa presents Simple Aesthetics. Now, I'll bet you're wondering two things about now, especially if you're seeing us on live TV. First, you've obviously noticed I'm not Brian Sedella. My name is Amanda Barnes, and I'm part of the Patient Experience Management team at Forever Young Med Spa, and I'm filling in for Brian for today's show as he had some family situations to deal with. Next, and this is only apparent if you're watching the video feed, is you're probably wondering, why is her face so red? Good question. We were trying out a new microfractional system for skin rejuvenation, and I was one of the volunteers yesterday. So this is how your face would typically look after the day after a procedure, which, by the way, we usually have a few days of social downtime, but it's definitely covered up with makeup. We will have more on this new treatment in a later program, but now I am very excited to introduce our special guest, who is the only person ever granted a United States patent for an injection technique. Countless doctors have tried, but only one technique was so different and offered such outstanding results that it was awarded a patent, and that service which Forever Young Med Spa is now proud to offer is called the Arc Derma Artistic Restoration Lift. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Leslie onto the program. So Leslie, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Leslie?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, I can. Welcome to our show, Leslie.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being our guest today. Leslie, we have a few questions for you. Just tell us about yourself, please.
Well, I'm a registered nurse. I've been working in the medical aesthetic industry for 14 years now. I started off working at a plastic surgery office, did a little bit of work at a dermatology office, and in 2010 opened up a medical aesthetic spa with a physician in Los Angeles, California, and we strictly do injectables. So we do Botox and dermal fillers and the Arc Derma technique.
Okay, I'm sorry, Leslie.
Okay.
Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. We're just having...
Can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry about that. What drew you towards the medical aesthetics as a profession?
I'm sorry, say that again. What drew me towards medical aesthetics, you're asking?
Yes. What drew you towards medical aesthetics as a profession?
Okay, so as a registered nurse, that's more of the medical, and I have a little bit of a background in interior design, and I actually owned my own clothing line before I became a nurse. And when I found out about medical aesthetics and how it was just a wonderful blend between the left and the right sides of the brain, and combining that medical side that I already had the training in and my artistic side, which I really found a passion in, when I was able to put that together into a wonderful marriage of medical aesthetics, I realized that this was definitely the industry that I wanted to spend my energies in researching and becoming an expert in.
Wow, that's awesome. So you've kind of always knew that this was going to be your forte, per se?
No, I didn't always know, actually. I kind of stumbled upon it. I didn't realize this is a very new industry. Botox was just approved in 2003, I believe it was. So it's a very new industry. When I was in nursing school, nobody spoke of medical aesthetics. They didn't speak of Botox or dermal fillers. It was just zero training in that, so I didn't even know it was an option. I kind of stumbled upon it when a colleague of mine that I went to school with was working for a plastic surgeon, and she called me and said, "This is perfect for you. It fits every piece of your personality." And so I'm so grateful that I got that call that day and I was able to be exposed to this industry.
Right.
It's been perfect for me.
Right, I bet. That's awesome. So what prompted you to look for another method of using fillers?
So by nature, I'm a problem solver. That's sort of my personality makeup. I had been injecting with conventional methods for many years before I came up with this technique, and I was definitely dissatisfied with the conventional methods that we had on the market at that point. First of all, the techniques that we were using took way too much product to accomplish the goals that the patients and I had. Most of them didn't have that kind of budget to get to the end result that we were looking for. And then when we took that much product to eradicate the wrinkles, they actually didn't like what they looked like because it was too much product. They were too full. And for example, just looking at the nasolabial fold, the smile lines between the nose and the mouth, those lines conventionally we would just fill them to kind of take the shadow away, and it looked very unnatural. The shadow was gone and the line was gone, but the patient actually looked pretty unnatural because they looked fuller than they did when they walked in the door, and it didn't really represent what they looked like. So then I kind of went to doing cheeks. So I did a lot of cheek injections to take the pressure off of the fold, but then we had to put a lot into the cheek to get them high enough to take the pressure off the fold. So then they would be maybe excited and maybe not so excited about having such big cheeks. So there was a period of time, I think, in the injecting world when everyone had very full cheeks. And that would take a lot of product. So there would be a lot of money involved, and they would just get big, full cheeks. And so both of those options didn't seem to require what I wanted for my patients. And then the third thing I think I was dissatisfied with is the amount of time that the results would last. So they would invest a lot of money in getting what we were okay and satisfied with, but wanted more, and then it would only last a year or so, and then they'd have to do it all over again. So it just seemed like a perpetual circle that I wasn't quite satisfied with, and I wanted more, and I think my patients wanted more.
Right. Typically that happens to us too when our patients come into the med spa. They want that natural look, and they want their budget is in mind, but yet they want that nice natural looking after effect. So we do run into that commonly. What were the most common complaints you would hear from your patients prior to patenting the Arc Derma?
So I'll just reiterate a little bit. I think I was getting a general consensus that the patients wanted a lift. They did not want to fill. They didn't even really care so much about the wrinkles. They just wanted their faces lifted. And again, being a problem solver, but then also being a people pleaser, which can be a negative thing, but in this case it's actually a positive thing. I wanted to make my patients happy, and they weren't ready for surgery. They didn't want surgery, and I worked for a plastic surgeon at the time, and they were still feeling like that wasn't an option they wanted to take. And so I just felt like I had to do something to get what they wanted, to be able to deliver what they wanted to them, and that was a lift. And so I just figured out that there had to be a better way to actually lift the face instead of fill the face, and not lift the face by filling the face, because that was an option. Like I said earlier, at the time, you can lift the face if you fill it enough, but I didn't want to take that route, because then everybody looked really full and puffy and kind of almost beach ballish, and I didn't think my patients would want that, and they portrayed to me that they didn't want that, and that wasn't my design aesthetic. So I had to figure out a different way to doing that. They wanted to look like themselves, and I think that was a key message I kept getting from these patients, that they really did not want to look different. They didn't want to look like a celebrity, like Hollywood, or even like anyone other than themselves. They just wanted to look like a better version of them, and a cleaned up, more airbrush than anything. And so I started kind of looking at my my options. And again, I wasn't satisfied with what we had at the time, and so I really had to go back to what I feel was my nursing training, and that was to think outside the box. And we were very much trained to do that in nursing school, to be innovative. And I felt like I needed to go back and really start thinking from a different angle. And so yeah, I think that was the impetus to get me looking and feeling like I needed to research other modalities. And so I actually turned it more engineering and more structural engineering. And I think I sent you a picture of the wall on the 405 that was the inspiration to this technique and why I came up with it and how I came up with it. And you can see these perpendicular beams holding up this construction site along the 405 freeway, which is our big freeway here in Los Angeles. And the beams are strategically placed. There's not a lot of them. They're just put in at an angle, a perpendicular angle to the wall. And as I was driving to work one day, I saw this on the side of the road, and it really clicked in my head that makes so much sense. It takes so much less product to deliver the same exact outcome that I've seen before on construction sites, such as scaffolding or sandbags, or even just thick walls holding up other things that needed support or bracing. These were very thin, very strategically placed perpendicular beams. And so those are the things that got my head thinking, if the 4 beams can hold up this entire wall, then why couldn't I put a few beams in my face and hold up this side of the face that's falling down and prop that up with just a few beams? And so I actually tried it on myself first. I do all my injections, and I think it makes me a better injector, but it was amazing. I had been doing my nasolabial folds and my smile lines for years, and then I actually stopped doing them because I didn't like the way they made my face look. And so when I did what I now call the Arcderma technique into my nasolabial folds and my smile lines, it took a quarter of the amount of product, and it did exactly what I wanted. I just needed my cheek to be propped up slightly. I didn't need it filled because I already had naturally full cheeks. I just needed it redirected. And so then I started from there. I started with my family and then some friends and some patients that are very, very generous to let me explore new techniques and ideas on them. And it just became my new way of injecting. That's all I did on every single patient. And my same patients that I had been injecting conventional methods came back, and when I started comparing their records and their notes, I realized they were using a lot less product, and it was lasting a lot longer than when I treated them previously.
Okay, Leslie, we're just going to take a short break, and we'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Sounds great.
Turn back the hands of time with South Florida's #1 medical aesthetics center, Forever Young Med Spa. Have you ever wished you could turn back the hands of time? Lose those lines and wrinkles and enjoy the healthy, flawless skin you had during your younger years? Ever wanted to rid yourself from hair under your arms, on your legs, or around your bikini area? Or men, the hair on your backs? Well, now you can at Forever Young Med Spa, where we provide the latest surgical and non-surgical procedures and rejuvenation products to restore your youthful skin appearance and enhance your self-image. Under the direction of renowned board-certified plastic surgeon Dr. Jeffrey Lagrasso, our staff of highly trained and certified professionals will meet with you to go over your goals and recommend services that best fit your lifestyle, your budget, and your expectations. So no matter if you're looking for surgical procedures such as Vaser high-definition body sculpting, a mommy makeover, or non-surgical services such as the latest FDA-approved injectables, Vanquish body contouring, Exilis Elite for skin tightening, or our HydraFacial MD treatment for your face, you can relax and let Forever Young Med Spa complete your journey towards a younger, more vibrant-looking you. Call us now and schedule a complimentary consultation at 954-450-2626. That's 954-450-2626. Or for more information on all our services, please visit our website, www.foreveryoungmedspa.us. Turn back the hands of time with South Florida's #1 medical aesthetics center, Forever Young Med Spa. Have you ever wished you could turn back the hands of time? Lose those lines and wrinkles and enjoy the healthy, flawless skin you had during your younger years? Ever wanted to rid yourself from hair under your arms, on your legs, or around your bikini area? Or men, the hair on your backs? Well, now you can at Forever Young Med Spa, where we provide the latest surgical and non-surgical procedures and rejuvenation products to restore your youthful skin appearance and enhance your self-image. Under the direction of renowned board-certified plastic surgeon Dr. Jeffrey Lagrasso, our staff of highly trained and certified professionals will meet with you to go over your goals and recommend services that best fit your lifestyle, your budget, and your expectations. So no matter if you're looking for surgical procedures such as Vaser high-definition body sculpting, a mommy makeover, or non-surgical services such as the latest FDA-approved injectables, Vanquish body contouring, Exilis Elite for skin tightening, or our Hydrofacial MD treatment for your face, you can relax and let Forever Young Med Spa complete your journey towards a younger, more vibrant-looking you. Call us now and schedule a complimentary consultation at 954-450-2626. That's 954-450-2626. Or for more information on all our services, please visit our website, www.foreveryoungmedspa.us.
Welcome back. Just to recap to where we left off, we are here with Leslie Fletcher, who is just recently was granted a United States patent for injection technique called the Arc Derma Artistic Restoration Lift. Leslie, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Leslie, Freddie, if you would put the slide up for me. One of the questions that we frequently get asked from the med spa is, typically our patients are on that budget and they want a long-term result, but something that also helps to produce, for example, helps to produce collagen in the long run. Typically, you said that it could last how many more months longer?
Well, that's completely variable depending on the amount of product, but generally, syringe per syringe, I'm getting about 6 months longer duration with Arc Derma than conventional methods. Up to 2 years longer, though. Some conventional methods only last a year or so, maybe even less. And I've gotten some patients with 3 to 4 years duration on their results. So depending on how many syringes, and that's the big variable, that's almost impossible to give a total, but definitely a lot longer than conventional methods, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely what most of our patients look for. Actually, if you would go to the next, and how is the healing principle?
I'm sorry, which principle?
The wound healing principle.
Oh, the wound healing principle. So it gets a bit scientific, but I'll go ahead and explain how the mechanism of action, basically, of what's happening with the tissue underneath. So with conventional methods, the practitioner is going to go in with the needle and come out very gently and kind of atraumatically and cause as little trauma to the tissue as possible, and that's kind of a standard conventional method. But we know now from a lot of research and studies that have been done that tissue trauma is actually a good thing. It causes collagen stimulation, which is the wound healing principle or the wound healing cascade of what happens when our body is introduced to trauma. In this case, it's the needle and the direction of the needle and how that produces some things that our body responds to this injury. And it's a controlled injury, and it responds to this injury with collagen, elastin, fibrogen, and growth factors, which lends itself to creating a very long-lasting result because your body produces type 1 and type 3 collagen when it's been injured. And that type 1, type 3 collagen has been shown to last 4 or 5 years. So anything that my needle stimulates underneath the tissue will last 3 to 4, sometimes 5 years, your own collagen that you're building. The product might be gone after the time that the product has been metabolized, but the collagen that's been stimulated remains. And so that's why the results are lasting so much longer, because the body is creating its own collagen in the direction that we've strategically put it into. So I think we have 2 slides on that, the wound healing principle and the increased collagen production principle. So if you flip to that slide, you can see those little red, look like egg-shaped things. Those are fibroblasts, and fibroblasts stimulate collagen. And fibroblasts lay dormant or actually don't do anything most often after the age of 30. They're kind of flat, and they need something to wake them up. And that something, in this case, is the needle and the product. And so wherever the needle and the product goes, those fibroblasts have been woken up, stimulated. They start to stretch. And when they stretch, they produce collagen, and that collagen they produce is healthy. It's long strands of it, and it's supportive to the tissue. So we have a very good result just from your own body's collagen production that lasts several years afterwards.
Wow, that's awesome. Leslie, we actually have a caller that would like to ask a question.
Great.
And actually, the caller is me.
Oh, hello, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, Leslie, thank you for joining us. Amanda, thank you for filling in. I'm actually in a parking lot calling in and listening to the show, and it's going very, very well. Again, Leslie, thank you for, continuing to provide us this great information. I don't know if this question was asked yet or not, Amanda, but how does a patient, Leslie, determine how many syringes he or she would need coming in for the arc derma procedure?
Yeah, it wasn't asked, actually. I've actually developed a formula that I have trademarked called decade dosing, and I train this in my courses when I talk to the practitioners about decade dosing and how to sort of give a general idea to the patients how much they need. And so the formula goes like this. You need 1 syringe per decade to bring you back about a decade. So if you want to look about 10 years younger, you can count on using 1 syringe per decade of your year. So if you're 40, you can count on getting about 4 syringes to bring you back a decade. If you're 50, 5, and so on and so forth. And that just really seems to hold true to deliver the results that I'm happy with, that the patients are happy with, and they go back about a decade. And that will last them 2 to 3 years. And it won't, when they come back for that follow-up in 2 to 3 years, they won't need the initial loading dose of that decade dosing. They'll need probably about half of that to maintain those results another 2 years. So we're just layering on top of other collagen that we've built. So it gives a great estimate to the patient to be able to kind of figure that out. And then most offices charge per syringe. There's some offices that have put together decade dosing packages and already have it kind of put together for multiple syringes. But I do want to point out that this technique works even with 1 syringe. So if you're going to get 1 syringe, you have a budget for 1 syringe, I would definitely recommend you spend that 1 syringe using the arc derma technique, because you're going to get about 40% farther with that 1 syringe and about 6 months longer duration with that same 1 syringe. So it's just more economical for the consumer to be able to have that option. But we obviously really, really like to talk to our patients about full face rejuvenation and full face lift and settling. It's the whole package. If you just clean up the lower portion of the face, the upper face doesn't match. And it's just like your car. You wouldn't paint half of your car or only get half of your house recarpeted. It's a whole thing. I mean, your face is the one accessory you walk around with every single day, wherever you go, whether it's to the gym, to the grocery store, to a party. You have that same accessory, and it needs to look as good as it possibly can. So we definitely subscribe to this pan facial or full facial rejuvenation approach. But it doesn't mean that leaves the people behind that can only afford 1 syringe. I still use arc derma even with 1 syringe as much as I do with 7 or 8.
Yeah, and that's one of our challenges we've had over the past 10 years, too, is And we actually did a live demo on the show about 4 weeks ago where we showed everyone that one syringe of filler is not a lot of product. And we actually, in 1 teaspoon, I only had 4.5 syringes, but I probably could have put another half or 1 additional syringe in that teaspoon just to illustrate how little product is in 1 syringe of hyaluronic acid filler, whether it's Juvederm or Restylane or Belotero. They're all pretty much the same, and that's a great way to illustrate to patients. And I love this, what you guys have created. If you're 40, you need 40. If you're 50, you need 5. Now, would that include the lips, too, or is that just for the facial area?
That does include the lips. And it actually could include the under eyes and the temples, too, depending on how thin you are or how hollow you are. But that definitely includes the lips. The lips are a central focus of the lower face, and we absolutely do treat that. And we treat it with our Derma method, though, where we're actually not injecting a whole lot into the lip, but we support the lip and the lip's own natural structure by everting or rolling out the patient's own lip using the Arc Derma method, and it's much more natural. It does not look fake, fishy, or ducky. It never comes out of our office. And it also, consequently, at the same time, will treat the perioral rhytids, or the wrinkles around the mouth, and give a nice, beautiful shape around the mouth. And I think that is one huge thing that's lacking in this industry, is that people are addressing symptoms and not causes. So they just go straight for the lips, and they never address the perioral, or the area around the mouth. And then those lips look like they're stuck on a flat wall instead of having a gradual build up and crescendo and holding up of that shelf. They look very shelf-like because they have not put in the brackets to hold the shelf up. And that's what I teach in the classes, is they have to address the entire region or it doesn't look natural. And so that definitely includes the lips. That was a long way of answering your question, but
that was excellent. Now, Amanda, I apologize. I couldn't listen to the whole show, so I don't know if this question was asked either. But South Florida and Southern California are pretty close in terms of the demographics and the economic side of the equation. What should a patient expect to pay? And I know it's a moving average, but from low to high, and assuming the patient wants a corrective fill based on their decades of aging, what would the budget be for a patient for this procedure?
Yeah, so the average range per syringe is anywhere from $600 to $1,000 per syringe, depending on the product, too, and that's a big variable. We have a newer product called Voluma. That's a fabulous product that has double the duration. It has a 2-year indication as opposed to 1 year. So you're already out the gate at a year longer than conventional or than other fillers. So that price goes up a little bit for that particular product, but the range can vary. Generally, for our Juvederm Ultras and our Perlanes and our Restylane, those are roughly like $500 to $600 per syringe. A lot of us will do multiple syringe discounts, so I just kind of did some numbers in my office or in other people's offices kind of in the same demographic. I think in your 40s you can expect to spend about $2,200 to $2,500. And again, you get a couple-year duration on that. In the 50s, anywhere between $3,000 and $3,200, depending on how much you are per syringe. In the 60s, you're looking at $3,200 to $3,700 and upwards of that. So it's probably a little bit more than what our consumers are used to paying because they're used to seeing advertising per syringe. It's kind of the same concept when you see how much Botox is per unit. You're like, oh, that's $10 a unit. Great, it's only cost me $10. And you get in there and you're like, you need, 75 units or whatever. That's sort of the thing. I mean, we have a per syringe price, but then you can get one syringe, but you're only going to be able to address one area with that. And so we definitely like to encourage the patients to get the job done. And I think your analogy with the teaspoon is so absolutely important for patients to understand that. A lot of practitioners don't even know that number, that it takes 5 syringes to make up 1 teaspoon. And if you just think of frosting a cake, 1 teaspoon of frosting is not going to go very far on a cake, and your face is absolutely no different. You need to spread that and spread it in areas and use it strategically, because 5 syringes with a conventional method can do a lot different than 5 syringes with ArcDerma. With ArcDerma, you can get a lot farther and accomplish a lot more goals than with conventional bolusing methods, which really are just going to address 1 or 2 areas and not do this complementary treatments in other areas.
Outstanding. Again, going back to the challenges of having a patient in their mid-50s walk in and say they want a syringe of Restylane and they want to fix their entire face, that's just not a realistic expectation that that's going to happen. Even with the ArcDerma technique, which gives you more bang for your buck, you're still going to need to put in an adequate amount of product to address those 5.5 decades of aging.
Right, absolutely. And I think it behooves us as practitioners to educate the patients on that so that they are getting the best treatment. If you take that one syringe and you decide to spread it all over the cake or all over the face, that's giving them a really bad impression of what fillers do. So I usually try to hone in, and I encourage the patients, if they only have one syringe, to pick one area: A, the lips; B, the under eyes; C, the oral commissures or the corners of the mouth, those types of things, so that we are really not spreading that too thin, because then it won't last in any area and they won't see any result in any of those areas. Or if you make them kind of pick and choose the one area or 2 areas that bother them the most, then you can kind of just laser focus that with your one syringe.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, I'm hearing a lot of patients coming in asking us about microtox or microscopic injections of Botox. What do you think about that technique?
We're the only educational company that actually teaches this, to my knowledge. It comes out of Singapore, and it's actually not very well known, so I'm surprised that you're getting patients that come in and ask for it. I think it's a fabulous technique, and it is starting to sweep the nation, but it is somewhat unknown. Even my patients come in and they have no idea what I just did to them, but all of a sudden it looks amazing. And that was one of the things we taught this last course in Florida, and I think it's a phenomenal technique. It was originated by a doctor named Waffles Wu out of Singapore, and he originated it for rosacea and just skin tightening and overall the shrinking of the pores and skin health, and he referred to it as meso Botox, or chemical denervation, which is the technical term for what we're doing. But it's a great technique. It gives you the ability to treat areas that you might not have been able to treat before without affecting the deeper muscles, and actually still get the benefit of the skin tightening. So we're very happy to be able to offer that to our trainees in our classes, and very excited about the outcomes. I think it gives you a whole other avenue of things that you can do for your patients globally.
So you're injecting minute amounts of Botox into different areas of the face?
Yes, it's not just smaller amounts of Botox, though. It's a different technique of injecting and a different depth, and really realizing the pathophysiology, anatomy, and physiology of what's going on in the face and what muscles are affecting which facial expressions, and then what muscles around those muscles are going to be enhanced when the neighboring muscles are relaxed. So it's a relationship between, it's a protagonist-antagonist relationship between the two muscles. So when one is relaxed, another one becomes stronger. And when one is relaxed at a superficial level, like very not quite deep into the depth of the muscle, it won't affect the expression, but will tighten the skin. So it's not just smaller amounts. It's a little more complicated than that.
Okay, Amanda and Freddie, I know we're up against the break. If you want to continue on to 4:45 and just take one last break at 4:45, I'm fine with that. Amanda, I know you had some additional questions as well, so forgive me for hogging the show. As I've been a part of looking at all these valet runners. So go right ahead.
Thank you, Brian. Alrighty, Leslie. We're actually going to go to the next slide. Freddie, if you would put that up for us. This is actually a picture of one of your patients, correct?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not following along.
Okay.
What it says and what it looks like.
It's a before and after picture. It's labeled Arc Derma Lift Botox Neck Lift.
Is it a male?
It is a male. Looks to me like he's has had...
What you're seeing, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What you're seeing in this picture is a patient who has had arc derma in the face and in the lips, and this is a male. So as you can imagine, male lips are a little bit different to treat than female. But he had what we call a proportional disconnect in the lower face. He had a wider lower face and a significant chin and a little bit excess in his neck, and then very small lips. So we've changed the proportions and the balance. We've lifted his face up with arc derma, filled around his mouth, nothing in the mouth, just around, to give the appearance of a fuller lip. And then we've injected into his neck some Botox or a neuromodulator to release the depressor muscles and let the elevators lift up. So that would be coined the Nefertiti lift, which is another term that's kind of out there. So between this combination, we've achieved a very successful, I feel, result in this male, very natural looking and giving him back a more masculine jawline than he had before.
Okay.
Leslie, you had a key word called balance, and that's, anyone can inject, through proper training, but very few practitioners can achieve that balance, that symmetry that the patients really want. Is that what you find in your practice as well?
Absolutely. I wrote a whole entire course on it that's running live right now. It's a 2.5-hour course on facial design and artistry, and the main focus is teaching practitioners how to view faces as a design process. It cannot be done as the package insert says on every single patient. You have to design that face in proportion and balance and symmetry. And that's crucial. And if you don't know how to do that, the medical side, it comes easy. You can inject the drug or the dermal filler, and you can know how to do it. But if you don't know how to do it, that sort of falls out the window. I mean, you're really only as good as the hands that it's in and the eye and the design aesthetic of the practitioner that's doing it. So if you don't see these things, you can't give the best result to your patient.
Yeah, you can't discount the expertise and experience required to achieve that kind of balance and symmetry that patients really want versus having someone who's taken a weekend course or who dabbles in injectables and does it 20% of the time. I'd always want to go to the person who does what they do 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
Because you tend to get real good at it when you do it all the time, and you're also practicing perfect in performing the same technique over and over again.
Right. I mean, passion is everything. Design and passion are everything in this industry. I mean, you have to know your anatomy and physiology, and that comes with time and studying. But the passion and the art of the beauty and the aesthetic in this is huge, and I think that's a missing piece in a lot of practitioners. It's never taught in medical school or in nursing school, so it's sort of a postgraduate type thing, and that's why I feel very passionate about getting it out there to these practitioners, is they have to understand design and symmetry. And I hate to liken it to a hairdresser, but it is somewhat similar. The hairdressers all use the same scissors. It's really, you're paying for the hairdresser's design and their expertise. We all have the same syringe of filler with the same needle, but what that hand is doing is really what you're paying for. And you're absolutely right. Going to someone who has made this their passion and what they do, and it's almost exclusive, is what they do is inject, and they're willing to invest in training. And I think that's one of the things when I write to consumers, I ask them to ask their practitioner, when was the last training you went to, and what was it? And if they're good, they will go all the time to trainings and just continue their education and open up their eyes to new ways to do things, because this industry is so new and it's so dynamic and it's always changing, and you have to stay up on it. And if there's a practitioner who feels that they know everything and they're very successful already, they don't need to go to a class, those are the ones I'd be afraid to go to, because things are changing and things are improving and getting better, and we need to be able to move along with that.
Well, thank you for pointing that out. Livia is always constantly training. Every year we look for, as a matter of fact, we had to wait almost almost 2 years, the time I first heard about the Arcderma Artistic Lift to get Livy into this class. And in the meantime, she's attended 2 other symposiums on different techniques, but nothing as remarkable or outstanding as this technique. So we're very, very happy that we finally completed the training. And I think, Amanda, you've got another picture to show or to have Leslie describe?
I do. The next slide, Leslie, is a lady. She has brown hair with short bangs.
Yeah, this is also another Arcderma lift. She had 4 syringes. She was in her 40s. You can see she looks exactly like herself, only happier and better. And particularly along the jawline, you can see that little jump out just lateral to her lip where there's like that little, what we call a jowl. It's a horrible word. Women don't like it, but I have to call it what it is. And you can see on the right, her jawline is much more congruent. It's smooth. And then the mid-cheek right under her eye, there's a little more of an apple. So you don't see those hollow under her eyes. And we've also addressed her perioral, or her region around her mouth, without injecting into her lips. We've given her a little more lip show just by pulling them out with the needle. So that's a fantastic result. She's one of our favorites.
Yeah, I think more and more in the office, most patients are looking for that natural look. They want to hear, what they don't want to hear, I should say, is, what have you done?
Right.
They want to hear, you look great. What have you done?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I
there's
think we had a question a little bit like that on our list about celebrities and looking frozen. And I think the issue at hand is that we are all accustomed to seeing these people in the media, on TV, and it gives injectables a horrible name because that is people's perception of what happens when you get filler. And it's not true at all. There are hundreds of thousands of people walking around that have had filler that you cannot tell. And that's the best way. And so we only see the ones that you can tell, and we think, oh, that's what it looks like, when you're missing a huge portion of people that have had it done, and there's no way you can tell. It just looks so natural and so much like them, just refreshed, that you get missed. They get missed as someone who's had injectables. And that's my favorite patient right there, because most of my patients do not want people to know. They just want to look better. And so I feel like what we see on TV is actually giving injectables a bad name, but it's not at all what it has to be. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to get injectables because they don't want to look like that. And so they get nothing and not realizing that there's another option out there for them, one that lifts instead of fills, and one that restores instead of putting things there that were never there before. So I think that's the different approach. With Arcderma, there's 3 differentiating factors. One of them is that, the 3 differentiating factors with Arcderma is that it addresses the 3 signs of aging. One of those is volume loss, and you can see in these pictures the patients have lost volume. But instead of just plopping in a bunch of volume to restore that volume, we actually are strategically choosing the volume that has dropped down in the way of her jowls and are pulling it back up into the mid-cheek. So we're using her excess and putting it in an area of hollow. I call it the lost and found principle. You haven't really lost your keys. They're somewhere. You just need to find them and put them back where they belong, and it's the same on the face. Her volume has dropped down on her jawline, and we've picked it up and put it back into the mid-cheek, and we use the filler not like a filler but like a glue instead. So it's more like a liquid glue as opposed to a volumizing agent. And then at the same time, because of the collagen stimulation, we're addressing the skin deterioration. And so we've addressed the volume loss, the volume displacement, or the redundancy, the sagging of the tissue, and the skin deterioration, which comes about 4 weeks later when they get that second gift of the tissue actually looks different on the surface. It looks like they've had laser or resurfacing treatment on their face because of that collagen stimulation that's happened underneath there. So it's really unique, and I think I know that's why it qualified for a patent. We covered all 3 things that are needed to get a patent, and it is extremely unique. We've trained over almost 500 practitioners in 8 different countries, people that have been injecting longer than I have, 15, 20 years, and I have not had one person to date tell me that they've seen this before or even heard of anything similar or have been doing anything close to it. And so that tells me that it definitely was novel and it is useful, and it certainly isn't obvious to the average consumer to come in and say, oh, this is how it should be done. It's definitely innovative and outside of the box.
All right.
Well, as they say, necessity is
Brian?
the mother of invention. Yes, go ahead.
I apologize. We've actually just ran into a break, so we'll be right back.
Okay, talk after the break.
Turn back the hands of time with South Florida's #1 medical aesthetics center, Forever Young Med Spa. Have you ever wished you could turn back the hands of time? Lose those lines and wrinkles and enjoy the healthy, flawless skin you had during your younger years? Ever wanted to rid yourself from hair under your arms, on your legs, or around your bikini area? Or men, the hair on your backs? Well, now you can at Forever Young Med Spa, where we provide the latest surgical and non-surgical procedures and rejuvenation products to restore your youthful skin appearance and enhance your self-image. Under the direction of renowned board-certified plastic surgeon Dr. Jeffrey Lagrasso, our staff of highly trained and certified professionals will meet with you to go over your goals and recommend services that best fit your lifestyle, your budget, and your expectations. So no matter if you're looking for surgical procedures such as Vaser high-definition body sculpting, a mommy makeover, or non-surgical services such as the latest FDA-approved injectables, Vanquish body contouring, Exilis Elite for skin tightening, or our Hydrafacial MD treatment for your face, you can relax and let Forever Young Med Spa complete your journey towards a younger, more vibrant-looking you. Call us now and schedule a complimentary consultation at 954-450-2626. That's 954-450-2626. Or for more information on all our services, please visit our website, www.foreveryoungmedspa.us.
Alrighty, we're back on the show. Brian, Leslie, are you still there?
Yes, we're here.
I'm here, but I have to run, so I wanted to say thank you again, Amanda, for filling in, and thank you, Leslie, for appearing on the show. I'd love to have you back at a future time as well. And I'm going to let Amanda close out the show with you because I have to run back inside.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, Leslie, we're just going to go to one last slide. This one I have, it seems to be like a neck lift.
Mm-hmm.
She has a green blouse on.
Yeah, that is our Botox neck lift, and we use Botox and Dysport for it, any neuromodulator, and we're combining a few techniques for that. One of them utilizes something that's known as the Nefertiti lift, which I kind of alluded to a little earlier. Another one is we're treating the bands, those two lines that kind of stick out underneath her chin there, and that's the separation of the band or the platysmal muscle. And then the third one is what we talked about a little earlier, too, is the mycotoxin that addresses the surface of her skin. So that's a great result, too. I feel like women are very concerned about two things. One is gels, which we talked about, and the second is their neck. I have some women who will actually defer treating their face so they can treat their neck first, and that seems to be one of the areas that we see our parents and our moms in a little bit quicker, is the jowls and the neck. And so I felt like I really needed to start coming up with some great techniques for the neck. And one of the questions you have on here is what do you have coming up in the realm of injectable treatments that you're really excited in? And this is one of them. We've been doing a new technique, sort of trialing it in our office, treating the neck with a combination of things, fillers and neuromodulators such as Botox, and have had success, amazing success in the neck. So again, with my patients asking for things, I feel like I need to deliver, and so I am always thinking of new ways to make things last longer and get better results without surgery.
Right, these pictures, these before and after pictures are incredible. They are.
These are very common results. These aren't like, I obviously picked ones where patients were okay with me using them, but these happen on a daily basis, and it's happening around the country, around the world, for people who are part of our Injectability Institute Training Center. My passion is to get injectors or practitioners to be able to get these kinds of results on all of their patients. We all want the best for our patients, and so we need to stay current on all those best techniques, and I appreciate those offices that have done that, and Forever Young is one of them that's invested their time and energy in sending their practitioners to classes.
Actually, we do have one last question for you. Typically, when a patient comes back, will they need the same amount of Botox units or fillers?
Yeah, I think I addressed that a little bit when I talked about the decade dosing. So your initial, what we call loading dose, is the 1 per decade, and then the technique lasts about 18 months to 2 years, sometimes even a little longer. When you come back for that second visit, you usually need about half of the dermal fillers. So this is dermal fillers now. With Botox, there's not much we can do about that. It lasts about 4 months, and that pretty much stays the same. So 3 times a year you get your Botox, and every 2 years you get your filler. And then when you come back for that second time, it's usually about half of what you had for the first lifting technique or procedure.
Okay. Are there any new techniques for the Botox injections?
I think we talked about them a lot. The Microtox, which helps with facial flushing, the sebum production, the shrinking of the pores and tightening, and more of a shrink wrap effect for the face. Also, the Nefertiti is somewhat new, and I've developed a technique for the neck waddle, that under the chin kind of excess skin that I use with the neuromodulators. And then there's also more of that double chin, kind of that heavy lower chin that we saw in the gentleman in the beginning. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of new exciting techniques for Botox and uses for it. I think typically we're used to doing it in the upper face, and I think it actually works as good, if not better, in the lower face and neck in combination with fillers for sure.
Great. Well, Leslie, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we hope to later on have you again on the show. We are looking forward to experiencing this new technique in our office.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'd love to see some of your before and afters and some of the testimonials from your patients. It would be fabulous. I love to hear that. So thank you for sharing.
Definitely. We definitely will send you over some.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Leslie.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that concludes our show for today for our Forever Young Med Spa Simple Aesthetics. Just a quick overview with Leslie. We were going over the United States patent for the injection technique called the ARC Derma Artistic Restoration Lift. Livia is actually this week in a conference seminar. We will be offering this technique shortly in our office when she gets back this Saturday. We are so excited to see what the results that our patients will be having. We are always looking forward to the new things that are out there. Our patients are always really excited to try anything new. And we will be sending you any additional information online. You could visit our website at any time. I believe it should be on the screen, or you could feel free to call our office if you have any additional questions or would like any additional information. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you.
Turn back the hands of time with South Florida's #1 medical aesthetics center, Forever Young Med Spa. Have you ever wished you could turn back the hands of time? Lose those lines and wrinkles and enjoy the healthy, flawless skin you had during your younger years? Ever wanted to rid yourself from hair under your arms, on your legs, or around your bikini area? Or men, the hair on your backs? Well, now you can. at Forever Young Med Spa, where we provide the latest surgical and non-surgical procedures and rejuvenation products to restore your youthful skin appearance and enhance your self-image. Under the direction of renowned board-certified plastic surgeon Dr. Jeffrey Lagrasso, our staff of highly trained and certified professionals will meet with you to go over your goals and recommend services that best fit your lifestyle, your budget, and your expectations. So no matter if you're looking for surgical procedures such as Vaser high-definition body sculpting, a mommy makeover, or non-surgical services such as the latest FDA-approved injectables, Vanquish body contouring, Exilis Elite for skin tightening, or our Hydrafacial MD treatment for your face, you can relax and let Forever Young Med Spa complete your journey towards a younger, more vibrant-looking you. Call us now and schedule a complimentary consultation at 954-450-2626. That's 954-450-2626. Or for more information on all our services, please visit our website, www.foreveryoungmedspa.us. Thanks for joining Brian Sedella, President and founder of South Florida's #1 medical aesthetics center, Forever Young Med Spa in Cooper City. Join us next week as Brian will again demystify the world of medical aesthetics and provide you, our listening audience, a non-medical opinion on what's hot, what's not, and what really works. You can contact Forever Young Med Spa at 954-450-2626 or visit our website at foreveryoungmedspa.us.